All right, good evening, Somers. This is welcome to the Somers Town Board meeting, our work session, Thursday, June 4th, 2020. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation
under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. All right, our first order of business this evening is to continue our public hearing on the proposed local law to amend Chapter 170 entitled Zoning, Article 3A entitled Conservation Zoning, Section 170-13.3-E(1) Standards and Requirements of the Code of the Town of Somers. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Patty, do I need publishing and posting, or this is a continuance?
No, we did that last month, but it was published and posted on the April 30th.
Okay, so Saret, if you would just give us an overview of this amendment to the zoning code.
Yes, as I mentioned at the last meeting, this came about because there is something in front of the planning board for a conservation subdivision, the Cobbling Rock subdivision. And in that subdivision, the applicant was seeking to create conservation areas on 2 of the individual lots. And it came to my attention that the zoning as it's currently written does not permit that, only permits the creation of conservation areas that are either held by conservation organizations or by the town board, and that require a homeowners association. So we decided we would look at the opportunity to allow it on individual lots. Initially, we had made an amendment, and the planning board, when it looked at that amendment, made a recommendation to the town board for some further modifications. And that further modification is what you're looking at tonight, which would take the existing language that allows the existing ways for conservation subdivisions and areas to be created, but also creates the additional opportunity to have those conservation areas exist on individual lots. And that is what that modified legislation is that is before you tonight.
Okay, so we're adding to the zoning, not taking anything out of it.
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, I'll open it up to public comment. Anyone there that wants to comment on this zoning amendment? Okay, so I'm going to check with Patty. Is there anyone there?
I have nothing.
Okay, and Paul, anyone on YouTube or Zoom?
No, nobody's there. No.
Okay, Matt, did you want to make a comment?
Just to piggyback off on what we spoke at the last meeting, for the record, my name is Matthew Gironda from Bibbo Associates. We are the project engineers for the Cobbling Rock Estate subdivision. This was sort of an opportunity, you know, it's a unique piece of property, and we thought that the deed restriction option, it gave us some flexibility within the conservation zoning, and we thought that it made the most sense for the property and gave us the opportunity to preserve environmentally sensitive lands and meet the spirit of what I believe the conservation zoning regs were written for. So I think that Saret brought up an excellent point, and I think that this is a great addition to the code.
Good. Thank you for your comment. All right, if hearing no other comments on this, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And now I'll make a motion to adopt the amendment.
I think you need a neg deck first, Rick.
Okay. And do we, we'll make a motion to declare a negative declaration on our seeker review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so moved. Thank you, Roland.
Yep. Patty, you'll need to do a notice of publication on that. I mean, a notice of adoption.
Okay, so now I'll make a motion to adopt the amendment, correct?
Right.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Yeah, I think this is a beneficial addition to the zoning. And yeah, it's going to enhance our conservation efforts. All right, moving along. Public comment. I'll make a motion. Wait, you know what? We're going to hold off on public comment. We have an add-on, which just came to our attention this afternoon. Saret, if you want to, I'm going to call on you in a moment just to give us an overview of what the add-on and the ramification to the town would be. The state has allowed restaurants to proceed with outdoor dining.
Yeah, I saw that.
So in other words, they cannot serve food inside, but where available and they can move this outside. So with that said, Saret, want to just give us an overview of what that ramification for the town of Somers would be? Okay, maybe Saret's not there anymore.
Sorry, unmute.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this happened very quickly.
Yeah.
Tom Tuma had gotten notice from one of the restaurants in town asking if they could do outdoor seating. And he turned to me and said, "What's the regulations?" And I said, "That's a good question." So he and I talked about it. And it seemed to me, there weren't any existing regulations, even though there are several locations in town that actually do have some outdoor seating. I'm not sure how they got there, but given the current situation, it appeared that maybe the best way to deal with this was for the town board to consider some type of temporary 6-month permit that would be issued by the building department to permit and promote economic, recovery and allow restaurants to have outdoor seating while they're not permitted at this time to have indoor seating. And of course, that then begs the question, how should this happen? And so we very quickly, came up with some list of items. And when I passed that around, Roland asked some further questions related to zoning, which, if we were doing a fuller analysis, yeah, I would look into all of this. But so I can go over what some of these initial thoughts that I had and the input that Tom gave me related to building, see what the town board's feelings are on it and how you want to proceed with it.
All right, well, yeah, let me just interject here. I think this town and its residents and its businesses have got to get back to work.
Yes.
So without a doubt. So, I would entertain passing a resolution tonight allowing a 6-month permit to permit outside dining predicated on following New York State and Westchester County Health Department guidelines. I mean, we can make it as simple as that.
I'm all for it.
I just I feel duty bound to at least mention that one of the basic tenets of zoning is that if your zoning code doesn't permit it, then the use is prohibited. And from what I'm hearing from Surratt, your zoning code does not address any type of outdoor dining. Now, I understand that what you're trying to accomplish, and that's fine, but just know that there is a defect in just doing a resolution rather than going through a whole process.
All right. Well,
But I recognize these are extraordinary times as well.
mhm.
So,
No, I-
Roland, I have
Florida
a
is
question.
outdoor dining. That seems to be okay, right?
Pardon me?
I mean, one or two restaurants do that.
Well, they may do it, but from what Surratt is saying is that it's not permitted.
Oh,
Well, it's not that it's not permitted. It's not in our code, right?
Well,
Not prohibited.
if it's not in the code, then it's prohibited.
Yeah, okay.
So Roland, to you, that's my question. What do we have to do to make this permissible?
Well, you couldn't possibly, if you had to go through a process of putting something in your code, by the time you draft up a local law, refer it to your planning board, refer it to the county planning board, get it back, have the required public hearing, do the required seeker, you'll be to September, and the whole season will have passed.
Right.
What happened to
So-
home rule?
So I don't know that what you're doing is in any way going to be challenged by anyone,
Is there any downside?
just that you could get a challenge, but I don't know by who. I think you're operating in good
Yeah, okay.
faith and you're just trying to help the local businesses, but a resolution falls short of the process.
So
So they
what happens if there's a challenge? Are we going to get sued for millions of dollars or not
No.
really?
No, it would just be an Article 78 and
I don't
And
know.
Roland will get us out of it.
We'd be ordered.
there wouldn't be any, it wouldn't be for monetary damages.
And no judge in this time frame is going to rule with somebody who complains about outside dining. I mean, let's face it.
I wouldn't think so, but I think if you're going to go ahead with it, I think you have to give the building inspector some guidelines to follow in terms of how many tables and chairs, where can they be put? They can't take up a parking lot because then where are people going to
No, that's
park?
a good point. That's a good point.
You may not want them in the side yards near the next property, especially if it's residential.
Could be noise issues.
You know, you've got some things to consider. When they get to the point of opening that you can have an option where you could be inside as well, does the county get involved, County Board of Health with septic approvals? Because now you're serving both indoors and outdoors?
Okay.
But you're not serving
But
in.
these already existing businesses that operate under normal circumstances indoor.
So here, this
I'm
is
not-
not a new topic. I've had this discussion with representatives of Westchester County Department of Health.
Yep.
Each of these restaurants in the town of Somers are on septic systems. They have a Department of Health permit. On that permit, there are the number of seats allowed to that establishment. So when I say if we pass a resolution that all New York State and Westchester County guidelines have to be followed, that means if you have 100 seats and you take 50 of them and put them outside,
Okay,
that's allowed.
yeah,
If you reopen indoor dining and you have to socially move things around and it limits the amount of seats you have in there, maybe you can only have 50 inside and you can remain 50 outside.
right.
So
I hate to be overly practical here, but how full are these septic systems at any restaurant in the area? They're empty. So
But it doesn't matter. There's a number of people that are allowed.
I understand.
So I understand what you're
I
saying.
understand.
So basically, they can serve if they open up, then in 100 people, 50 outside, 50 inside, you're good to go.
Right, they can
So
save
this
some
is
portion of their
specifically-
occupancy.
Right. No one's opening restaurants. We're in phase
No, I know.
1 right now.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about, but down the road, right?
Right. So even phase 2, which we're going to be entering into hopefully next week, does not allow restaurants to open. However, they've made this outdoor dining concession, which I would like the town of SOLARIZE and the town board to take advantage of
No, I agree.
and move this ahead.
So
So,
however we can do it, let's do it.
okay, so, I would say we'll pass a resolution allowing outdoor dining commensurate upon meeting Westchester County Department of Health guidelines. They're going to tell us, where and when. You can't put it maybe over the septic system. You can't, but you can use parking lots. Connecticut's been doing this for about 2 weeks. You'll see, if you go up into Ridgefield, they'll have a strip mall, and in front of a restaurant, they'll have a canopy and outdoor dining there. I can tell you Westchester County will not allow enclosed tents outside. This accommodation is not so you can, have a 4-walled structure outside. You have to have an open tent. So that's what I'm saying. Each one of these restaurants, as we allow this to happen, Tommy will have the ability to permit it, and the Westchester County Department of Health will be a partner in their opening.
Would that require that I would think social distancing and
By all means, yes.
how far chairs are apart and
Right.
masks and all that?
That's
I
the
would think.
guidelines, right?
Yeah, so you would have to wear a mask going to your table. Once you're at your table, you can take your mask off. If you go into the restroom, you would have your mask as you traveled into the restroom. So what I'm saying, we're not going to get all the details worked out tonight, but what I would like to do is pass a resolution, as I proposed, that we would permit, the town board of SOMERS would permit the building department to issue temporary permits for a 6-month period, while in conjunction with following all the guidelines of the New York State and Westchester County Department of Health.
Second the motion.
No need to.
Well, Surratt, one question. Did you have any, did you have any things you're going to suggest as far as guidelines, or do you have any model guidelines you were going to pass on to us or to the building department?
Well, I did not have model guidelines that I picked from any place except right off the top of my head. And I wrote these down in an email that I
Right.
sent around. I can tell you what some of them are. And some of them incorporate things that Tom Tuma suggested to me as well. So,
And
I don't know what Westchester County's health department identifies, but what we had talked about were things that tables and chairs must be movable so they wouldn't stay outside. I don't know if you care about that. That they be on pre-existing surfaces. We didn't want somebody all of a sudden to start, putting in gravel or doing anything like that. That they minimum distance of 6 feet from other tables and from any other adjacent facility. We talked about the masks. I'm looking here. Can't block exit or entrances.
right.
Restrooms and parking areas shall be
Hand
open and
hand
available only
sanitizers.
to employees and outdoor dining customers. Some of these places may already have pickup service or curbside delivery, so none of this can be closer than 6 feet to any of the locations where that happens. Let's see. No tables or chairs shall extend into pedestrian pathways, shall be located in, let's say you're in a big shopping center, you really need to leave some right-of-way for pedestrian, pathways to other stores
Mm-hmm.
that may not be open yet, but may open at some point. So, these were the gist of these kinds of things.
Well,
Yes,
those
well-
sound good. I would certainly want to see the outdoor dining resolution passed. I think if there are other ways to, like Roland says, give more guidance by taking more time, I'd say good thing. And Surratt and Tommy, if they want to do that, I'd say great.
Yeah, so I would recommend that we incorporate those suggestions into the resolution, into the permit that we would give for, 6 months. And it gives our building department the ability to permit outdoor dining and get some of these restaurants, back into business. So once again, I would say let's incorporate. I'll make a proposal, a recommendation, that we pass a resolution that would include those things that Surratt just mentioned, in addition to following all the guidelines of New York State and Westchester County Department of Health. Now that would encompass, the number of seats you can have, because that's already on their permit. And the Westchester County Department of Health will be making routine inspections. And, that is between Westchester County and the food service establishments. So I think this is a necessary resolution, and we can write it up, and obviously we'll share it with the board. But I would make a proposal that we, pass this resolution in the spirit of getting these businesses back to work.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved.
Enthusiastically.
Yes. And, Patty, for those details, you and Surratt can put that resolution together?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Hey, Rick, could we talk about parks and getting those things open in some way, shape, or form?
Maybe at the end of the meeting, but we have an agenda we have to follow.
I just think,
Okay, so we have public comment, but we do have guests with us tonight that we're eagerly waiting to hear from regarding community solar opportunities. So I'd like Nina Orville to give us her presentation, and then we can go back and have public comment, and we can get back on the agenda. But when we have guests, we like to give them the opportunity to speak and then be on their way. So Nina, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm Nina Orville. I run the solar programs at Sustainable Westchester. And if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and share a presentation with you.
Okay, Nina, can I ask, do you have a volume control that you could turn up?
I can sit closer. Is that any better?
That's better.
Okay, great. And are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, good. So we're good to go. And thank you so much to all of you and Supervisor Morrissey for inviting me to join you, and to Kim for setting it up, and also to Don Bleasdale, with whom I've been discussing all the opportunities that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight.
Okay.
One moment. Okay, so you're familiar with, of course, Sustainable Westchester. I know you just had a presentation from Dan Welsh regarding the Community Choice Aggregation Program, Westchester Power. We're happy that Somers has been a member of the organization from the very beginning. And we have a number of programs, as you know, the Westchester Power Program, Community Solar, which I'll be discussing tonight. We've been doing work on clean heating and cooling through a program called Heat Smart Westchester. It's a community campaign approach to bringing alternative ways of heating and cooling homes. We have clean transportation work that we do, including support for electric vehicles, both for municipal use, charging stations, and the vehicles themselves, as well as support for members of the public to be able to access those vehicles at less cost. And we're doing work with some municipalities related to recycling and waste reduction. So we've been working for a number of years on opportunities to make it easier for individuals, communities, municipalities to access the benefits of solar energy. And a number of you will remember, certainly the supervisor and Councilman Clinchy, the SOLARIZE Westchester program that we ran for a number of years. We worked with 22 municipalities. There were over 600 solar installations that resulted over 6 megawatts of solar energy installed. And one of our best campaigns that we did, of all the campaigns that we ran, was with you in Somers, SOLARIZE Somers Newcastle. In 2016, there were almost 500 people who had their homes assessed for potential solar installations. 3/4 of a megawatt of solar capacity was installed, and over 85 new solar installations, with a lot of community education that took place over the course of the several months that we did that program. So all of that was wonderful, but what became apparent was that 85% on average of people who essentially put their hand up and said, I'm interested in solar for my home, either were ruled ineligible or they decided it wasn't the right fit for them. And there are a number of reasons for that, including shady roofs, poor roof condition, HOA restrictions, which I know is an issue for a host of people up in Somers, financial considerations, and of course, the reality is that anyone who rents their home or lives in a multifamily home isn't in a position to be able to take advantage of the benefits of a solar installation at all. So for that reason, we have been very eagerly engaging with a new solar opportunity called community solar. And the way community solar works is that large solar installations are constructed in places that are optimal for solar. Can be on large fields, can be on top of warehouses or big box stores. We're going to see more of it on parking lots with solar canopies. And the energy produced is exported to the local utility. And then customers of that utility can subscribe as community solar subscribers to that community solar installation. And those subscribers receive community solar credits on their utility bill, and then they pay the owner of the solar farm a discounted amount for those credits. And I'll show you in a moment how that works, but there are lots of benefits for people who participate. Those include, with all of the community solar projects that we're working with currently at Sustainable Westchester, 10% savings. There's no upfront cost to participate. There's no solar installation on a subscriber's property. People who sign up are directly supporting new solar development in their utility area. It's available to almost everybody, almost all residents, whether they're renters or homeowners, houses of worship, and some small businesses. There aren't any fees. There are no penalties to cancel. What I like about the particular opportunity that we have in NYSEG is that it's a long-term contract, 20 years, but you can cancel at any point, which means someone who signs up is locking in the opportunity to save for the 20 years if they want to stay in the program for that amount of time, but they can leave at any point with no fee. People don't have to change their energy supplier. It's compatible whether somebody is a NYSEG customer, a Westchester Power customer, or whether they've selected a different ESCO. And I'm gonna give you just a little information, a little more detailed information about how this works, because we get a lot of questions about this, and it's the way community solar operates is a little bit different than people would expect. So for folks who sign up, and when their community solar project is producing energy, those subscribers will see a credit on their NYSEG bill, as you see here. It has a very arcane name, but we let people know what to look for, and that the community solar credit will have this particular name, CDG Value Stack Credit. And then via auto pay from your bank account, you pay a discounted amount for that bill credit. So each month you save 10% of the amount of the community solar credit. Whatever the community solar credit is that month, you'll be billed 90% of that amount, which guarantees a 10% savings on that credit. Then each month, subscribers receive an email notification telling them the amount of the credit that they received on their last NYSEG bill, and that a certain number of days in the future that their bank account is going to be debited 90% of that credit amount, and therefore what the savings are. It tracks cumulative savings as well as monthly savings and the carbon impact for people who are participating. And at Sustainable Westchester, we've essentially, for now, repurposed the SOLARIZE Westchester name. So the way people can learn more about the program now is by going to solarizewestchester.com. There's a sign up button, as you can see. And we are working with a range of different community solar providers who are offering community solar enrollment opportunities. These are all opportunities that we have vetted to make sure that they are customer friendly. We look to see what the terms are. We ensure that there are no cancellation fees, that there are no monthly fees, which some community solar providers have. And where possible, we look for opportunities also where there's no credit check.
She's not taking over the screen.
To ensure that that community solar is accessible to as many people as possible. So folks can choose Find My Project, put in their zip code, and they'll be taken to a community solar project that they're eligible for. I'm just going to show you a few screens of the sign-up process, just so you have a sense of what's involved. So it asks for some basic information, including, of course, your address. You put in your banking details for the bank account that you want to use for that automated payment, and that's housed on in an encrypted fashion on a Citibank server by the partner that Sustainable Westchester works with. And then it brings people to a contract that auto-populates with the information that they already entered. And there's an e-signature process for signing up. So Sustainable Westchester has been bringing the community solar opportunity to communities around Westchester County in the same way that we did the SOLARIZE campaigns, in the same way that we're doing Heat Smart campaigns. And it's been something that's been of interest to a number of communities, in part because we do a lot of community education. That's obviously a key part of our mission. Community solar is something that is new, and so there's a lot of confusion among people about what it is and who's eligible and how it works and whether it makes sense for them. So just as we do about other clean energy programs, we bring that education to people so that folks who decide it's something of interest to them can take advantage if they choose. It obviously helps residents save money. The savings can be up to 10% of people's electricity bill. And in the case of Somers, your sustainability action plan also references bringing the benefits of renewable energy to more people in the town. So it's a way to do that. We have been working with communities in a couple of different ways. One is in a very informal way. So if a community says, we're interested in sharing some information with members of the community, perhaps the sustainability committee wants to send out information, or the mayor supervisor wants to include some information, but to do it informally, that's fine and great. We're also working with some communities in a slightly more formal or intensive way through a community solar campaign, which is similar to the SOLARIZE or the Energize campaigns that Somers has done in the past. And in that instance, it's typically a collaboration of the local sustainability committee, the municipality, and Sustainable Westchester. And if that's something that's of interest, then the town would let us know that they would like to participate in that. They would share information that Sustainable Westchester would provide for that purpose, and help publicize some virtual workshops, which we've been doing. And one other feature of this, which is something we're doing with the Heat Smart campaigns as well, is when, in the case of towns that are collaborating in this way, Sustainable Westchester is able to help provide support for local sustainability priorities of that town for the enrollments that come through that collaborative effort. So the way this works is Sustainable Westchester is engaged by these solar developers to do this community education and help people sign up. And so when we partner with a local municipality, or we've done this also partnering with nonprofits to bring this information to people, we're able to share some of that back. So that's just something for you to know. So that's the outreach component. There are two other opportunities that I'm going to mention briefly, all of which are available for the town. So another opportunity is for the town to actually subscribe its own electricity accounts in community solar, and benefit from the 10% savings on the solar credits for your own accounts. For your small accounts, it's the same agreement as residential customers would enter into when they enroll in community solar. And Bedford and Lewisboro have just signed up their eligible accounts. Again, it's a 20-year term with no cancellation penalty at any time. And there's another opportunity to enroll large accounts. Bedford is in the process of looking into this. They've entered into a letter of intent with a solar developer for that purpose. So if it's of interest to the town of Somers to understand how this might work for the town, which accounts would be eligible, what the savings would be, then you can let me know, and let me know who I should interface with in the town who can provide some information about the town's own NYSEG accounts, which will let us do that analysis. We come back to you with that analysis about what's possible with the small accounts, what would be possible with the large accounts, and the town can decide how you'd like to proceed.
Nina, you have that information already, don't you?
I do, yes. So I can share that with whoever you would like me to share it with.
Right, well,
And then we
I
help
would
you
think-
promote it, right? You help, right?
Correct. So there are different opportunities here. What I was talking about in the prior slide is about outreach to the community. And
Right.
so we would partner with you in bringing that information to the community and doing that community education. On this slide, I'm talking about an opportunity for the town to enroll its own accounts,
Right.
which would result in savings on your electricity bills, as well as helping the town to participate in supporting renewable energy.
Is
So-
this a commercial program as well as a residential program?
It is, however, so small accounts, and it gets a little technical, the utilities have different categories for their customers. Any residential account and any electricity account of a house of worship or very small commercial accounts are eligible under the very simple agreement that I referenced. Saving 10%, 20 years, cancel whenever you like. So anybody who fits into those categories, whether they're commercial or residential or nonprofit or municipal, can sign up under that agreement. Then the New York State has set up the community solar program where a portion of a community solar farm can be allocated to electricity accounts that are significantly larger than that. And in this instance, the solar developer that we're working with has given us the opportunity to bring this to our municipalities first. They're interested in having municipalities enroll as anchor subscribers, essentially, to these community solar farms. And that is a different agreement.
So there's no opt-out with that, maybe?
Correct. You're not allowed to simply cancel. And so that is an agreement that the town of Bedford they're going to be receiving it from the solar developer tomorrow, I think. And their council is, going to be looking at that and determining how to proceed. And then Lewisboro, I think, will be following suit in terms of analyzing the contract.
So Nina, let me ask you this. Over the last 6 months, some of our residents have been getting solicited from other entities on solar programs. You're offering 10%. Is this a competitive percentage discount? Or are they offering less, more? What makes you different from them?
Right, that's a great question. So first of all, anybody who's enrolling in community solar from an environmental perspective is having the same impact.
Right.
So enrolling in community solar is great. There are some of the large community solar providers who I know have been active in the area have deals that provide a 5% discount. And there are some other companies that charge a monthly fee to be part of the community solar program. I've seen other subscriber agreements from different community solar providers where there's a fee if people cancel.
Okay.
And so I'm very pleased. We worked with a solar developer for about a year to lock in the terms that they are providing to subscribers.
Okay.
So it's, I'm very confident that it's a very attractive opportunity for people who
Well,
participate.
right. Well, after looking at those, and I know it's been a while. We wanted to meet with you months ago, before the world changed.
Yes.
But yeah, I think this is something that the town would be very interested in. And you mentioned who you would be working with. I would say our finance director, Bob Kehoe, and Don Bleasdale,
Great.
our Energy Environment Committee. So unless I hear different, gentlemen, I think the town would certainly be a subscriber to this program. And, we could talk to Westchester Power about a campaign to offer it to our residents.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Just one quick cash flow question, just on the timing of the credits and the payment. Are we ever in a situation, or is the subscriber in a situation where the payment happens before the credit? I have to make an outlay before I get the credit.
So certainly in the case of all the residential and the small commercial subscribers, anybody who signs up with a small account, the way it works is people receive the credit, and then it's close to a month later.
Okay, so it's a month and a
billed
week.
for that credit.
Okay.
Correct.
But it might be different at a commercial level.
With the commercial level, you would always receive the credit first. So it would be similar. It would be similar.
Okay, so I guess our
Nina, do we know
financial
where
guys will
these?
go through all that.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. Nina, do we know where these solar farms are located? Are they out west? Are they in New York State? Are they south? Do we know? Or are they anywhere like that?
They're in Tioga County.
Oh, they are. Oh.
Yep, and they're.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Don told us that. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yes, and they're starting construction in the next month or so. It's a set of 3 solar farms that are being constructed there.
Right. So for someone like me, we're in the community choice aggregation program, and I'm in the renewable the source thing of it. Now, this would supplant that? How would that work for me personally, or anyone who's like me, who is signed up for the renewable energy source aspect of CCA?
So the wonderful thing about community solar is it complements any energy provider.
Okay.
So when you sign up for community solar, nothing changes on your electricity bill except that you receive this new credit.
And I would save money over what I'm paying in the CCA.
Correct.
Regardless of whether I'm in the renewable or the petrol-based, coal-based energy production part of it.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Whoever your electricity supplier is, this is a way of supporting renewable energy, either in an additional way, if you already have renewable energy as you do, or if you just are a NYSEG customer, you can start supporting renewable energy, but it provides significant savings. So for instance, I have been a subscriber to the first community solar project in Westchester County that sort of squeaked through 3 years ago, and then nothing else was developed for a period of time. And I'm a Con Ed customer, so my bills are higher, but my cumulative savings are about $800 at this point over those 3 years. And that's after-tax dollars, you know, so it can be significant if you're looking at a 20-year savings opportunity. It can certainly add up in a way that's meaningful.
And just to state the obvious, anyone's listening, as you say, what comes into your house doesn't change, and it doesn't mean that what comes into your house is all result of solar. It's just a credit to the company to increase the demand for solar energy by the big energy providers. It doesn't mean that any individual house gets its energy from solar nor from wind or anything else.
That's correct. What it does do, because all of the energy that is created by these community solar farms is sent to the NYSEG electric grid, it helps NYSEG's energy sources become incrementally more green for all NYSEG customers. But
Right.
you as a subscriber get all the financial benefit because the credit lands on your bill as a subscriber.
So
Let
essentially,
me just
to
say,
help
you were a great
finance-
help to the town when you're in the SOLARIZE project several years ago. You were a great help to us in bringing that to Somers. And just to remind people, we got a free solar panels on our library, a small system, but we got them on our library as a result of that SOLARIZE Westchester product. And Nina, you were a great part of that. So I thank you for that.
Thank you so much. You were an integral part of that whole campaign as well, which was, as I said.
So Nina, we're going to look forward to having Bob and Don, work with you.
Great.
Unless I hear any different opinions from the board. All I heard tonight was win, 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 and win.
I love it. We have one other opportunity I'm going to mention briefly. This is something that Don is familiar with. And again, it's complementary with everything else that I discussed. So NYPA, the New York Power Authority, and Westchester County and Sustainable Westchester are partnering on an opportunity to make it easier for local governments to host community solar projects. Now, any community solar projects that are likely to be built on municipal property in Westchester County, they're not going to be of the scale of the solar farms that we're helping people sign up for in Tioga County. But you have an opportunity to identify any sites. It can be rooftops, it can be large parking lots where perhaps solar canopies would be appropriate, or it can be open land that you think might be appropriate for solar development. And NYPA is putting together an RFP that they're going to send out to solar developers, showing these various sites around the county. Solar developers will bid for the opportunity to construct solar in those locations, and the participating municipalities would receive annual lease payments from those solar developers for those projects that are constructed. So it's, I can send you a link that you can use to put forward any sites, if you have any that you think are appropriate, your public works garage or any other.
Well, that we've done. We've been through this process.
Okay.
And as I recall, we weren't real fans of the parking lot type units.
Yep.
Rooftops. And we weren't fans, I don't believe, of vacant land, mini solar panels.
Sure.
But, and I'm speaking for myself here, but we have been evaluated for where solar roof panels would be appropriate. And actually our highway garage, it took quite some time, but this fall we completed solar panel installation on one of our highway garage buildings.
Oh, that's fabulous. Congratulations.
Yeah, great.
I think one of the ones that they were trying to get us, Rick, what you're talking about was like the carports for the police station or something, and we deemed that.
We're thinking about it also in the, the recreation areas.
Yeah.
Right, and we were talking
Kinda
about,
said, no,
yeah, well, that is our
impervious
impervious
surface.
surfaces, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Those disturbed.
okay.
But
You know
Nina,
what?
I want to thank you for excellent presentation.
Thank you so much.
We want to do, obviously, give Bob or Don a call to follow up with this. And yeah, we'll, I don't know if at some point will we have how we would apply this for the town, meaning the municipal accounts. You know, Bob can come to us and tell us what he's arranged or what happens with you. And then we can talk about some kind of a marketing campaign for the rest of the town.
That sounds,
Can you share the Bedford contract with us as well, maybe?
sure, yes,
Okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So thank you, Nina.
Thank you, I
Good
appreciate
seeing
it.
you.
Thanks for your time. Have a good evening.
Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Nina.
Take care. All right, so that brings us back to public comment. So I'll make a motion to open public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. So Patty, Paul, do we have anyone for public comment?
I have no public comments.
Okay.
Okay.
No, nothing on this side either.
Okay, so just to kind of reiterate, how would someone sign up for public comment? What venues could they go through?
They could log on to the YouTube channel and view it live. And if they were signed into their Gmail account, they can public comment right on the YouTube live feed, and I would see that. Or they can dial into Zoom. I can put that slide up right now, and they can dial in via a phone number right now and public comment to us.
Okay, and then,
I also have a cell phone where I can take text messaging.
okay. All right. Well, hearing, so Paul, yeah, you can put up those, that Zoom account number that they could call in with comment. But if we have nobody in the queue, I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. And then if someone does call in, we'll reopen public comment.
We actually do have somebody trying to call in right now, guys. Should I let them?
All right.
I apologize. They just tried right now.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, sir. Here they are.
Hello.
I just let you please identify.
If you can identify yourself, name and address.
Hello. This is Tommy Smith from Shadow Rock.
Yes, Tommy.
Tommy.
You're going to have to lower your YouTube feed in the background, sir.
Okay. I was just wondering if we can't possibly have these meetings in a large location, like in a school auditorium or like in Crystal Hall or something.
We're looking forward to that day, Tommy. I can assure you.
Because I really don't think this is working out, because it took me since the time you said the public comment was open, I was trying to get through. Okay, I don't think this is really working out too good.
Well, it's the best we can offer at the time, but
Why can't we use a school auditorium or something?
well, the schools are closed. We're still in New York pause, which limits public gatherings to less than 10 people.
Okay, then how come we're still going on with these meetings and everything? Shouldn't everything be adjourned? Because like the first meeting, you talked about the Soma sewers, and when we called up to find about it, you said it was just going to be adjourned, but meanwhile, you had 2 public comments on it. At that one meeting, you had the engineer show up, but meanwhile, when you called up before, you called the town hall before the meeting, they're saying it's not going to be discussed, it's just going to be adjourned.
And we haven't
Right.
talked about it since, Tommy, and we're waiting until we have a better venue to do that. I mean, you got like 3 minutes. Do you have a comment that you want to make, or?
Yeah, where do we stand on the sewers? You know, with the way the.
Go ahead. We're waiting upon a public comment, but we're waiting to do it so it's fair for everybody involved. Our goal is to have face-to-face public comment, but right now, we're not allowed to do that. And again, we don't feel that doing a public comment necessarily through Zoom makes sense. And so that's what we're trying to do. And things are starting to open up. And after, what is it, Mr. Supervisor, the 9th, I think we may get some more information about how many people you can have some places and what you can do. You know, Tommy, this is a tough situation for everybody. All right. And,
Okay.
you know.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thanks for your comment.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Paul, anybody else in the queue?
No, nobody else.
Okay, so public comment will remain closed.
Can I just ask a question to Paul? If a person wants to make public comment, can they do it anytime they're watching the YouTube, assuming they're watching on YouTube? Can they comment anytime during that? Or do they actually have to wait? And he said it took him too long. Can he do it before that, or just get in the queue before that?
Yeah, anybody can comment right now, right this second, or any time of the meeting. As soon as I hit stream live at 7:02 p.m. this evening, they could comment right away, and then we just address them and read them when we open it. But
So they could link onto this meeting and they would queue up for you.
Yep.
And then you would put them on a Zoom call, right?
Yeah, I could do that as well. Is also, they can actually call in at 7 p.m. and be a part of the whole entire meeting and sit there muted in the background. And when it's time for public comment, I'll unmute them, or, you know, similar thing.
So right, that's my understanding too. So they could attend the meeting just like Nina did.
Yeah.
And then time for public comment, you just allow them into the meeting.
Absolutely.
So Paul, is it the same invitation every time? The same number? It is. So if we were to put like those instructions on our emails, the bottom of our email, anything that goes out, click on this if you want to go to a meeting.
Mm-hmm. It's not a big,
yeah, that's what we've been doing.
Okay.
We look to, you know, strive for perfection and get to better in that. So if we need to do anything different, we'll absolutely do it. But we'll continue as well as we've been doing.
And hopefully we'll be back. Some sort of normalcy in the near future where we can have people in the meeting room and social distance and all that sort of stuff.
I look forward to that.
So do I.
Okay. All right. So the after public comment on our agenda is Parks and Recreation. And Tony, I think you wanted to make a comment. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just thought that we could just chat about opening up the parks, you know, with some sort of social distancing rules.
Yeah, Tony, I know you and I sort of talked about this offline. When the Parks Board originally sent over the letter, they sent it over to be open from, 8 to 8. And we sort of changed that. I've said this numerous times. Every day, actually, I've talked to a couple of guys when I'm there. Every day I go to FDR Park for, hour and a half. And on weekends especially, there's a lot of people there and it's busy. And there's some self-policing. There's some thoughts that, individual responsibility. I understand that we don't want the playground open, and I get it 100%. But I think if people want to come and sit in the park and walk the trails, I don't know that we necessarily have to police them every minute that they're there. And I don't know why, in my opinion, this is just one person, why we wouldn't keep it open until 8 o'clock. Ask the police to drive in a couple of times during their normal routine, which I know I think they've done in the past. So people have a place. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Will there be too many people there? I don't know, but I think we need to try it out and have faith in the citizens of the town that they are going to take the appropriate precautions.
Right. So just so everyone is aware of this, we have opened Reese Park. It's right. It's open for tennis, singles only. There are
every other court,
and the batting cage, And for passive recreation,
Right.
you go on, set up, a blanket, hang out, get sunbathed, socially distant, and you can walk on the trails up top.
Right.
This is kind of an experiment. Can people come into the park? Normally a park's open from 8:30 to dusk.
Yes.
We're not opening those floodgates yet, but if this
We're
works
open till
out,
3, right? It's open till
yeah,
3.
right now, it's
Right now.
I think we should, again, because when I go to these other parks, people tend to come in more in the afternoons.
Right.
They're even if they're working remotely, they're working from home, they're working remotely, and they can't go at 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. They finish their normal work day, say 5 o'clock, and hey, I want to go to the park and walk the trails. I want to bring my kids to the park. Much like Engelfly's been open the whole time. Kegel's, I think Kegel's been open.
Kegel's open.
Right.
Yeah.
and the Anglefly, right?
Right. And even
Rhinoceros Creek.
even Lasden, which isn't ours, but Lasden is open its normal hours. They close it at whatever time it is, 5 o'clock and things like that. So I'm just suggesting that we open it longer. Again, that's one person.
To 5, 6, or 7. I mean,
No, I think I'm for opening it until dusk.
well, I do it. I mean, and if it doesn't work, you shut it down. I mean, that's,
Well, we do have a Parks and Rec board we may want to check
Okay.
with.
Well,
But,
actually, I did. Excuse me.
Okay, so
Well, I think that was the original understanding of the Parks Board too, right?
We were at the meetings with the park board, and their original letter went out saying 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock.
Right.
Holy cow, I'm dying.
okay. All right, so
put that on
Very
mute.
passionate about this.
Yeah, you were passionate about that water.
It was either that or the Thin Mint cookie.
Well, it's that cat. It's that cat on the
I'll
back.
maybe
there.
share.
yeah, maybe they were allergic to those two little bundles of joy.
They're here somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. The kittens are there. Yeah.
All right, so this,
Anyway,
this is a dialogue we can have with our Parks and Rec board and this park superintendent.
Okay.
And look, it may not have to wait till their next meeting. He can outreach to them, and well, let's find out from him how the tennis and how the passive recreation is going.
Right.
Well, according to him this morning, he said there's been far fewer problems than he imagined. They don't hardly, I mean, thus far, maybe people don't know it's open, but they've been on every other court on tennis. It's singles only on every other court, and the trails are open. I think the problem is the fields. They have to keep the fields closed. You're going to have teams playing, and that's clearly against New York State rulings. That's the only problem I could foresee.
And
You know,
one
it
of the
just
things,
clearly says fields are closed.
and one
just
of the
as they
things
do at the high
did
school.
today, which was great, was they put the new thing now, the social distancing circles down.
Yeah, the circles are fine.
I mean, Steve
Yeah.
did a phenomenal job with that, Rick. You might have seen it. I know you were over there at one point.
That was great.
Yeah, no, I did. So,
But
this
just by
might be-
observation, I mean, just want to say that in Yorktown, the track, they put lines around the track, and people walk into different lines. So
Mhm.
there's sort of a guideline for distance.
But anyway, Rick, I understand what you're saying. We could talk about it offline. We could talk to the chair of the Parks Board and get sort of a straw poll of the Parks Board and Steve and see what they say. And, we could do that. We could ask about that tomorrow.
All right, well, this might be an opportunity to discuss the rally that took place in the park today. Once again, these were 3 college students that were exercising their First Amendment rights. They had applied to the town for an event permit. They mentioned on the permit it was going to be 50 people, and they wanted to meet in Bailey Park. I immediately reviewed it and denied the permit. We didn't think that Bailey Park was appropriate for that location. So, and then after checking with our council and Westchester County Council, I got their input. As a municipality, you cannot prevent public protest or public gatherings like that. So what I did recommend was the use of Reese Park, where you could social distance, you could wear masks, and you could have an orderly rally that we could have our local police, state police, and county police ensure that public safety was affected. So with that introduction, Tom, I know you were there. I was there for the morning.
Rick, the first thing I'm going to say, Rick, is that, you know, you and I don't always agree 100% on everything, and maybe this we didn't, but what you did was 100, and I said this out there, what you did was 100% for the safety, for public safety. And you're 100% right. If this had happened at Bailey Park, people showing up, blocking traffic, doing that sort of stuff, it would have been a nightmare. You had them go over to Reese Park, where it could be controlled, where it was safer. And in so doing, you have had the brunt of some of the most awful comments. I've lived in this town, as I always say, for my entire life. I've been involved on various boards and on the town board for 20 years now, for 20 years. And I've seen comments on everything. And the comments, I'm actually getting pissed about it. The comments that you got were so out of line that I'm just so glad now that people are seeing what happened and they're coming back. And again, you and I didn't even, we don't even necessarily agree on what happened, but what I'm saying is what you did was for public safety. You had the interest of the employees of the town, of the people of the town, of the people of the rally in mind, saying, hey, we can control them here. And then everybody came out of the woodwork. I mean, I saw comments, I'm locked and loaded and I'm strapped.
Yeah, that one got me.
I mean, I'm sorry, and I know I'm getting emotional about this, but I've been here for my entire life, and I've never seen comments like that about anything. We, you know, when Rich and I got on the board 12 years ago, one of the reasons we got on the board was to have more civil discourse, because some of the things that were happening were just.
That's actually why I ran for supervisor.
Right, and the 12 years that we've been on it with you and the rest of the guys, Tony, you know, it's been a good discussion on things, and we don't always agree, but we respect each other. And you know, I got calls from people who live miles away saying, "Oh, I don't want my house to get looted." These people were so respectful, and so, you know, the whole process, it was going to be 3 hours. It wasn't. It was maybe 2 hours, and the speakers were fantastic. And I hope people could see it. It was streamed live on Facebook. And I know Rich and I think Tony, I know Bill was there for a little bit, but I think the three of us stayed for the whole thing. And it was just impressive. And I went up to the girls who did it. And, you know, Peter Harkham spoke, and I don't have a list of the speakers in front of me, but it was so impressive. And the respect that they paid to our police department and the other volunteers who did it, it was fantastic. Now people are going to come back and say, well, we should be able to do it. Okay, you know, if that's what you think, then fine. But this one thing, the comments that were directed at you, you took them very well, and I know it wasn't probably an easy few days for you.
No, it wasn't.
But I know that ultimately you had the public safety at heart. And so that's where you know me,
Exactly.
I calls them as I sees them. And
right. So I have two words.
Yeah.
First Amendment rights.
Exactly. So
in public safety, and that's what drove my decision making through this whole process. I've had several conversations with the organizer. I met with them earlier in the afternoon down at Reese. these girls did a great job organizing this. It's something the town could not condone. It's outside our purview. We're supposed to be social distancing. You can't gather more than 10 people together, even socially distanced. So, with that understanding, I was not going to allow this protest to go out into our streets. Bailey Park was inappropriate. And look, I made these decisions based on legal direction, legal counsel, and with the police. And I want to thank, once again, our town police for doing a great job on planning. I want to thank the state police for being involved in this. And I also want to thank the county police, county and state police, who did have a presence there today.
So I want to say the police actually advocated for this. And the people who were at the meetings, I mean, they were Somers High School students, past and present. There were teachers there. There was clergy there. And there was a lot of, neighbors that I know. And there's a lot of people that I didn't know. The things that we saw, people are frightened. This is a funny time, and people are just frightened. And I'm not even sure all that stuff that we saw on the web was even legitimate.
No, exactly. Exactly.
And you did your due diligence. I wasn't, part of it from that perspective. I spoke to the people that I know on police and Yorktown and the rest. All this stuff about people coming up from down county and so on was, ostensibly
right. It was fear mongering,
but
people got upset. People get upset.
They had one today. Yorktown's having one on Sunday. Bedford's having one either Saturday or tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people are doing, and we all know. Everybody knows the stuff that we've seen on TV is terrible. The stuff in Brooklyn and in New York, those are a small fraction of what's happening now. There are. My sister lives down in Virginia, and her town had one, and the police came and made burgers and hot dogs for everybody. The vast majority are peaceful. They're good people who, like Tony said, some people are afraid, but they're just trying to get the word out there and trying to educate some people. And don't get me wrong, the vast majority of the people in Somers, 99.9% of them are sort of seeing what we're seeing, and they're saying, hey,
mm-hmm.
This is where, and we've said it before, the fact that we're a board that has different political parties on it, and we talk and we get along in our town. Whenever we ask for volunteers, you get more volunteers than you ever need. This town steps up and they do what they want to do. And I just get annoyed when there's a few people who, for whatever reason and whatever agenda, want to try and make it worse than it's going to be. And here, there was not one incident.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. First of all, way larger than people thought. There's a police lieutenant told me he estimated about 1,500 people were there. 2 hours went fast. It was well organized. I kept thinking to myself, as a high school teacher and still working in a high school, there's such a difference between high school kids and college kids. These were college young women, not high school girls. They were so well organized, so well spoken. And the speakers that they brought in, it was really heartfelt, of people talking about experience they've had here in Somers, as well as in other places, where from their point of view, from a point of view of a Black person or other minorities that might speak up, it's not something that maybe any of us would see it from that point of view. But when you hear them talk in such a reasonable way, say, wow, I can't believe that actually happened to you. I could see your point. Any one of us could understand a parent of what happened to some of these younger people over the course of the last couple of months, last few years. And you could feel like that could happen to somebody's kid who didn't do anything. And for whatever reason, now it's just that makes you, I can feel their concern. As one of them said today, I just want to be able to go down out of my house and feel as safe as any of you feel going out of your houses. Because I always feel safe going out, you know, obviously in Somers. But I thought the speakers were great. I thought the young people, the young women who organized it were way better organized than I had thought. They much better space. They were just excellent college students, not high school kids. And here's the thing. All the people who were fearful, and I understand those fears, like Tom said, and like Anthony said, I understand. You know, people look on TV and that's all you see, and it makes you concerned. But any concern about litter, about violence, none of that happened. And at the end, they cleaned up the park. Tom and I were there until the end. The parks employees didn't have to clean up anything. It was all cleaned by the organizers.
I actually took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Put it up there for when other people have stuff.
Matter of fact, I said to Ms. Goldberg, one of the organizers, I said, you've done so well organizing this. I think you've done far better than the town could do. So we're actually now giving you, you're in charge of everything. Good luck to you. You're in charge of this now. Because it was really something. And I think anyone who was there, it did make Somers proud, even while listening to the stories, which would make you think of things in a little different way. So it was a better event than I had hoped for. It was a very good day. And I think, look, we were all anxious and we're all reading the criticisms. I'm not saying those were bad people. I'm not saying they were unfounded, but as it turned out, none of that happened. And it was something that was one of the better days I've had here in Somers.
That's good to hear. So I hear from TV, Paul. Do we have another person out there for public comment?
Yeah, we do. Should I let him in? His name is John.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could identify yourself and tell us your address.
John, just give us your full name.
If you're talking to me, it's Jonathan Harwood.
John, you just got to lower your YouTube or TV in the background, please.
Doing that right now. Is that better?
Yeah, we can kind of hear it. I don't know if you could turn it off completely.
Yeah.
Get an echo.
All right, again, John.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I just wanted to say I was there today, and I commend you folks for allowing this to happen. It was a great rally. I think it showed Somers at its best, in all capacities. And again, it's a commendation to you folks for seeing through all the anti or the hurtful comments or the opposition to it and allowing it to go forward and seeing what the town could do and what a positive thing this could be. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your comment, John. It's appreciated.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
So that brings us to our
What's going on?
town board,
I shut it off.
town board agenda number 1.
I just turned the.
Already?
Yes. COVID update from the
Where's the dog?
supervisor. So this is an understatement when I say we're all beleaguered at this point. We're still at the stay at home, stay safe mode. Don't go out unless you absolutely have to. If you go out, wear a mask. But I have to tell you, this town has, I'm looking at numbers. We started back in April 1 with 28 positive cases in town. we've had 349 cases as of today of positive cases in the town of Somers. But of that number, we only have 28 in town that are active. So there's 28 cases of active COVID in our town. And that's a smaller number than we've been used to, but as I've mentioned before, the state had ordered enhanced testing in nursing homes throughout the state. And what that did over the last couple of weeks is shot our numbers up. We were up to 101 active cases in the town of Somers. And it took me a little while to figure out why that happened, but it was because of that executive order that the governor had to start testing in nursing homes, testing employees. In our town, not only were employees tested, but residents were tested as well. So we did see a spike in numbers. However, at this point, outside of that demographic, we have 4 active cases in Somers. So this just goes to the mettle and the commitment of this community to really save each other. We wear masks, we social distance. Our businesses have operated under tough circumstances. They've gone from sitting behind a counter to coming out to your car and delivering curbside service. This has become the new normal. But you know what? I'm looking at the numbers, the results, and we're doing it, folks. As I say, we are Somers strong. And with that, I'll proceed with the agenda, but I have nothing but good things to report as far as the COVID virus goes. We're starting to see things open up, and it's only going to get hopefully better from here.
Rick, what are the boundaries of non-disclosure that, we're being asked to
Well, it's
honor?
HIPAA regulations. So, you can't talk about location, you can't talk about a person's name, you can't talk about age, sex, race, anything else.
Right.
So basically, this is all data driven.
Okay.
That's about it. Okay, so good job, Somers. Our next agenda item is number 3, authorize the solicitation of a request for proposals from companies that can provide contract to furnish and deliver oil, as well as emergency and non-emergency services, including maintenance for HVAC, per memo dated May 18th from Tom Tuma, Building Inspector. So, Patty, do you think, should this go to consensus, or do we want to get these RFPs out there?
No, I was just hitting my buttons. If you could move that tonight, I can get that out next week.
Okay, great. So I'll make a motion to authorize us going out to an RFP for oil and HVAC services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. The next one is authorize the supervisor to execute the following: a 3-year renewal with Seamless Docs for web services in the amount of $12,500, which includes a $2,500 add-on for online payment processing for the period of June 29th, 2020 through June 29th, 2023.
Far overdue. And Rick, can you just tell me, I'm just curious, is this comparable to the one that we have in, for taxes where you pay it out of your checking account, or is this one where they can use a credit card?
Okay, well, I was just about to give kudos to Councilman Clinchy for.
I don't like to do that, though.
Well, I do.
Okay.
He negotiated and spoke with and was part of our Seamless team. So, Rich, I'm going to throw that question to you.
I don't really pay attention. What was Tom saying?
He
Because I don't
wasn't
really pay
listening.
attention.
See, he doesn't listen to you either.
What did he
so.
say? That Tom Garrity? Is this part? Yes, it is part, and it's it's not fully built out yet, but eventually you will be able to do all the things that we've said. We're renewing the contract, provide the website, but more importantly, the integration into the forms and other things. Even this permit for, if you're going to permit, let's say a march or a program, somebody needs something, that's all automated now through this new system rather than a piece of paper flying back and forth across the town. But it's going to, what's going to happen with this, it's going to be fully integrated with payment of it. Now there's a new system that's being added on to this so that the payment within will be able to done, as they like to say, seamlessly as people put in applications for a variety of things. Now it's not fully built out yet. And one of the hardest places is in the building department. So one of our people in town that we all know called and said, hey, I need to get a permit to put in a generator. How do I do that? But the building's closed. And I said, oh, you go right online. You can fill out the form right there and submit it. Well, I was actually wrong. That form isn't fully implemented yet, but it will be one of those that you can. However, they could download it and fill out the form, obviously, from the website. But it'll become better and better. You know, it's been a little frustrating thus far of how fast it's gone. But when it's better than it has been, and it'll become better as we go forward. The only thing I would say on the agenda, I think it's a 12,500, not 13,000. We got 500 knocked off that.
It says 12,500.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just printed this out. This is 13. No, it is 12,500. I have an older agenda.
12,500, right?
Yeah, okay. That's what's supposed to be. We had a phone call and we got 500 knocked off. You remember?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Well, we did.
Okay. The next one is authorize the supervisor to amend the proposal for Euro Video Productions, LLC, in the amount of $2,200 per month for a 34-month period starting March 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2022. And then the Robinson Oil proposal for HVAC duct cleaning, sanitizing, and ultraviolet air purification systems for 5 Town of Somers buildings in the amount of $29,986, effective May 29th, 2020, in an effort to improve the overall air quality in these buildings and to protect the health and welfare of those using those buildings.
Very good.
So this is clearly a response to the virus. It can be spread with an aerosol. This will ensure that this ultraviolet light system that we're contracting for does kill the virus, and that's why we're making this investment. It not only will protect our employees, but anyone that comes into the buildings.
Do we happen to know, is this the same thing they're using on New York City subways, using ultraviolet light there at night to kill? Is this the same thing, or?
It's the same technology where they're using that light to do a physical area. This, if you can imagine a air conditioning duct, this is an insertion of a light that goes into it. And as air flows over it, it turns on and ionizes the air. When the HVAC system shuts down or reaches temperature, that light shuts off. Which means it's not on all the time, but it comes on when it's needed. So I think it's a worthwhile investment for the town to make.
I agree.
So not the same as the subways, but a similar idea using ultraviolet light.
Right. I mean, an ultraviolet light, we use it on the water system at the townhouse. It's a tried and true method to, treat air, water, what have you. So I'm going to make a motion to move that one along. The other two, I think
Rick?
we can
Move all three. Move all three.
move all of them. Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize supervisors to execute the following: A, B, and C.
I'd be afraid not to second it. I'd be afraid of Patty, so I'm going to second it.
You better. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
We do have an
Thank you for
add-on.
being afraid.
And actually, and I will say this, again, we just did it, we didn't mention it, but Paul, you've been working with the town for, I don't know how many years, I mean, as long as I've been here, and you do a great job. I saw you just come on with the thumbs up, so thank you, and, keep up the good work. We appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, I just want to say, Paul, you're not just recording, you're producing now. So there's a lot more going on, and we appreciate it.
That's for sure. Yeah, we appreciate everything you do.
Oh my gosh, Paul, is that the townhouse?
Yeah.
It
Holy
is.
cow.
Guys-
Everybody look, it's a townhouse.
Hey, we can't wait to get back there.
How'd you get in?
Paul's in charge.
Good job,
That's
Paul.
good. Paul will be with us through 2022 at least now. So that's good. He can plan, we can plan. It's good for both of us.
Thank you much.
And, I thank Rich for working with Paul to come up with that contract. Good job, gentlemen. Thank you. The add-on, gentlemen, this just came up, and Saret wanted us to address it. It's the Hannaford wetland application. Hopefully you all have had a chance to take a look at it. It was sent out. I just have two comments on this. This is a person that wants to put in a pool, and they have a stream or a brook that runs through their property. So none of the structures that could be built are 100 feet away from that stream. So that's why they have to go after or requesting a wetlands permit. Their engineer is requesting a waiver of having a wetlands flagged and by a wetland consultant. The wetlands is limited to, like I said, this stream. So to go out and get a wetlands consultant to do survey to tell you that's where the stream is, that's where the wetland is, this request to waive it seems to be reasonable. So that would be one of my comments going back to the planning board. And the other one was, I noticed on page 2 of the application, it says, is the project site in any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, site inventory? And it's checked yes. So I would like to know what archaeological site it's near.
Well, where is it in town?
This is at 4 Boniello Drive.
And I know there were some sites on the golf course.
Yeah, no, I know. So
and
that's
burial
just
grounds, but I
curious.
wasn't aware of anywhere else.
So I would like, those are my two comments. I would like to pass those along to the planning board. Any other comments or concerns on the wetland permit?
No.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I also,
Nothing to move there, just comment. Okay, now we move on to personnel. We have openings of affordable housing, our library board of trustees, partners in prevention, and the architectural review board. Proposed consensus agenda. We have 2 items. An erosion control bond, and authorizes supervisor to execute the wellness and nutrition program. So we'll put those on the consensus agenda for next week. All right, so that concludes our meeting this evening. I just will want to make a statement about referencing back to Deputy Supervisor's comments about the emails, Facebook posts. I make a habit of answering every email that I get. I will not be doing that. Along with all the vitriol that people did send in, some of it was very surprising, very disturbing. I have some voicemails I saved. When you come in the office, I'll let you hear them. Those were disturbing. Some of these emails are disturbing. But once again, I had 2 words for all the people that were opposed to someone having a peaceful demonstration, and that is First Amendment. I will stand by the First Amendment, as you all will. We swore an oath, and I am just so pleased that we had a peaceful rally today, and that was large part due to the organizers and the fact that we had our town police, state and county police providing public safety. So with that, I'll open up any closing comments, gentlemen.
My only comment is, after a hard week, everybody should do what I did and get a kitten.
Oh.
I got 2 of them, and they've been climbing up my legs the whole meeting, and you don't even know it. So, but, everybody needs to relax, and this too shall pass.
Yeah. So this, I will say,
You have to do that quickly.
While you were in Reese Park, I was over at my son's house celebrating my grandson Derek's 6th birthday. Nerf gun fights, flag football. It was amazing. But once again, having a birthday party under this, social distancing, it's a really tough prospect. So my heart goes out to all you parents of preschoolers and elementary school. What the heck? High schoolers, college kids coming back. It's tough for all of us. So just hang in there. We'll get through it.
Rick,
and we do have to keep in mind, yes, getting better. Look at the numbers. Some states not so, but it's kind of like a basketball game.
We have a guest.
We got a puppy.
Here.
Oh my
God.
Come on, we're bringing all the pets.
Welcome.
Who's your favorite councilman?
Where's the parakeet?
We don't have grandchildren, but we're taking advantage of.
That's gorgeous.
Stay at home.
He looks just like you, Tony.
Well, thank
Just
you.
like you.
Well, you're elevating me.
So give us some.
He's almost 20 pounds.
All right.
Tony, no, he's bigger than that.
Sorry, Rich, you got cut off.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but for worthy purpose. Anyway, my point is that everybody's doing well, and just the obvious. If it's a basketball game, we're like at halftime and we're winning because we're against the virus.
Yeah.
But we can't change tactics, or at the end, we're going to lose the game. That's how I kind of look at it. You can tell people just want to get out and do regular stuff, and you start cutting corners, and sometimes you see people doing things you kind of worry about, and you just hope that people continue to do what we're supposed to do. The advice has worked. I'm sticking to the advice we've gotten.
I wanted to, Rick, if I could have one more minute, I totally forgot. And I want to thank the police department. I want to thank the fire department. Last Friday, as everybody knows, the seniors of the high school they're just, it's a bad time for them because, prom and senior trips and all that sort of stuff are not happening. The last Friday, we had a car parade that was set up by, I'm sure, a whole crew, but the principal, Mark Baer, was chief among them. And I have to tell you, it was fantastic. Well, I saw you actually. It was fantastic. All the kids were there, decorated their cars. The parents drove them. We went around town, ending up at the high school where they had a personal pizza for every senior, as well as ice cream. The kids, my son loved it. All the kids, from what I understand, just thought it was fantastic. And the police all were out there directing traffic. The fire department was leading it. I know I saw a lot of town employees over in front of the townhouse cheering us on as we drove by there. And all the teachers from, Tommy's teachers from first grade, second grade, third, they were all there. And you went by them at a slow pace. You were able to say hi and thank you. And but thanks to those guys, to the police and fire department, who all really helped make it happen. And I know you also worked with Mr. Bear on it, so thank you to you. It was just a really super night. The weather was perfect. It started raining 15 minutes after it ended.
Yeah, right. It did.
It just fit in right there.
Well,
So there was one standout vehicle that came by. It was a fire engine red convertible with the Garrity family in it.
Yeah, and Tommy was telling people it was his graduation present, but I had to tell him it was going back the next morning.
Oh, Paul, good. Putting up some video.
This is it. That's right. The teachers and all. It was just such a great day.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these kids got such a roared deal this year. So they deserve all the accolades that they can get here.
It's just something nice in an otherwise crappy time.
Well said. Well said. So I have no announcements, but Rich, I want to agree with you. Halftime at a basketball game, we're going to go into the fall. It's called flu season. That's another flu season. So, I see socially distancing and wearing masks for quite some time. It's going to be the new normal, but once again, it works. This virus was running rampant because we didn't know it was out there. It took its toll. My condolences to all the people who lost their family members. A number of them in Somers as well. But we have to be vigilant. Like you said, Rich, we have to be vigilant.
Good stuff. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
One quick comment, Rick.
Sure.
Of course, Saturday is the 76th anniversary of D-Day. So if you love your freedom, think of it.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Good one.
Yeah, that is a
dramatic
good
day of the 20th century.
Right, because without that day, we're not here.
We wouldn't be here.
We're not here. And well, you mentioned that we lost one of our D-Day soldiers just this past year. I got an opportunity to meet him at the Independence Day celebration. This gentleman was on the first wave on D-Day and survived. And he said once they got inland and started going through the French countryside, they were given orders, do not fire upon the French. He turned to me and said, when I saw a rifle come out of a window, I was firing back. And you know what? And he lived to talk about it. So
I didn't have time to check his passport at that point.
Parlez-vous français?
99 years old.
God bless.
Okay, any closing comments, issues, concerns?
No.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for your support. And let's stay Somers strong. Good evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Wait, can I get a second?
Wait, Patty, you have something to say?
We're afraid of Patty. We never say no to Patty.
Oh my, yeah, I have to close the meeting. What's going on with me?
Give me a second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Somers.
Good night.